Undisputed, the Mexican Monster Pack out now.
What is the most powerful trait we have? You need power, speed. Let your imagination do the rest.
Boxing King Media, delighted to be joined by Carl the Jackal Frampton. Do you like still being called the Jackal, or is it old news now?
I don't know. When I'm doing an interview with you, it's okay, but not in the doctors or the dentist. Maybe I'll be strange.
I tell you, the first thing I'm going to ask you, Carl, I don't think I've seen you work on a matchroom show before. Is it first time?
One before? No, I've done one in Sheffield. I don't do too many. Mainly, I do the Queensbury shows, but my contract is with the Zone, and I'm happy to just work whenever I can. So I enjoy working on the matchroom shows, and this bill tomorrow night is a good one.
Do you ever find, like, we get a lot of fans online that will moan about pundits saying, you know, they're biased, they say things that the in-house promotion want them to say, you got to run narratives to back the home fighter. Be as honest as you can. Have you ever felt that, and have you ever been in that position?
I think I get it a little bit. You know, I mean, it's starting to happen for more often recently that I'm being called a company man, but I mean, I think that I'm far from a company man. I say it as I see it. No one's ever told me to spin a lane or spin a narrative. I've always been open and honest and said what I feel like saying, and giving a true reflection on the fights that I've watched. That's what I do all the time. And but you know, people are always going to complain and say negative things, and that's okay.
Fair play to you. Let's ask you about the main event. So Harlem Eubank, Jack Catterall. I was trying to draw comparisons, and I was just looking through your record. I think the time you fought Luke Jackson, I feel like this is a similar fight for Jack Catterall, fighting a guy that he's been there for all the best, because at that point you fought all the best, and then you come down and fought somebody that was relatively still kind of making a name.
That's a good comparison, but I think that Harlem Eubank's really impressed me in his last couple of fights. I think he's a good fighter, but I think his style might suit Jack. And I think one of the problems with Jack, and you've never heard Jack complaining about his weight or anything, but I think one of the criticism you can throw at Jack is sometimes he doesn't go through the gears in a fight. And I've seen him go through the gears in the gym so he can do it. And obviously there's something that's happening on fight night, maybe he's trying to conserve energy or whatever, but I think we're going to see a rejuvenated Jack Catterall up at welterweight. And Harlem's a good fighter, and like I said, he has impressed me in his last couple of performances, but I think his style is suited for Jack. If he's over-eager, Jack's a fantastic counter-puncher, and I think just being up the new division is going to suit him as well.
Two counter-punchers, technically speaking, so do you still see it being a good fight?
No, I do see it being a good fight. I think it's going to be competitive, you know, but I just think Jack's wisdom in the ring and experience are going to be enough for him to win.
Knockout points?
I think it'll go to points, but it'll not be a massively waged scorecard, I think, but Jack will win by 4 or 5 rounds.
Quick word on what we saw in Istanbul a couple of days ago. All the stars turned out. I know they would have definitely invited Carl the Jackal, but he was busy with matching commitments.
I wasn't invited.
He would have been, but they knew he was busy here.
All right, okay. Yeah. What was that for?
The IBA, I don't know if you heard of it.
So the amateur thing that...
Yeah, so basically the simple concept is the elite amateurs, they're going to put them in with the top pros and just fight each other. But the record of that fight doesn't go on BoxRec, it's a separate record. That's the concept.
Right, okay. I don't know enough about it.
Dickens? Good.
Oh, Jazza was what a win for. I mean, I was delighted for Jazza, absolutely delighted. That's a great story that's a real inspirational story about people just continuing to go on, and when everyone thought Jazza's career was over, he just bounces back and does it, and now he can call himself a world champion. Unbelievable story. But the IBA thing, I mean, the IBA, they were the organisation that were kicked out of the Olympic boxing for corruption. So I don't really know what else to say about that.
I'll leave that one there. Tyson Fury's announced he's coming back. Obviously, nobody believed he retired. So what do you make of this latest announcement and mention?
I mean, Tyson said he was retired, but did anyone ever really think he was retired? I think anybody in the boxing game knew he was going to come back, but I think it's something that probably can irk and annoy the casual boxing fan. Is he retired? Is he not retired? But I think it's great to have the big man back. He always brings fun to the game wherever he goes. He's a massive character. Boxing needs characters, and yeah, it's great to hear that he's fighting on.
Your namesake Carl Frampton has a lot to say about AJ, and basically describing as he's terrified to face big punches, all that kind of stuff. Do you believe that consensus? And also, I'll ask you that first. Carl Frampton is saying that AJ is terrified of big punches, terrified of getting punched, basically. So he shouldn't fight again. So obviously, we want to see the AJ Fury fight. So he's got two questions in one. Do you believe Carl's comments? Do you think he's got? Is he going down the right direction, and do you want to see that fight still?
I don't think he's afraid of big punchers. I mean, his last fight was against Daniel Dubois, who's maybe one of the biggest punching heavyweights around at the minute. I mean, Carl, obviously there's a little bit of beef and stuff between Carl and AJ, and I love both men. I'm a fan of what AJ has done for the sport of boxing, and the amount of eyes that he's put on British boxing in particular. As Carl Frampton has done the same thing. AJ, sorry, was the first one I was talking about. Carl Frampton has done the same thing. But I can see that there's obviously an issue there, and Frampton likes to hammer AJ every time he gets a chance. But
you know the issue. This is the last question I'm going to ask you. There's rumours online. People are suggesting that Carl introduced AJ to Eddie, and Eddie owes him some sort of introduction fee, and because that's not materialised, and this is where it all kind of stems from. Whether you believe that or not, I don't know, but stuff like that happen.
I mean, something like that can happen, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. But I mean, you know what Frampton is like. Frampton loves to wind it up, doesn't he? And I love Frampton, I love AJ. I would not say AJ is afraid to fight punchers. I think he's been brave throughout his career, and I think people have sometimes short memories, and they forget what AJ has done for British boxing. I think he's been a momentous name in terms of the eyes that he's got on British sport and British boxing, and because of AJ, because of guys like Frampton as well who fought in stadiums, I think the sport is in a better position.
Carl, thank you for your time, brother. Catch you next time.
The most powerful trait we have. If you need power, speed, let your imagination do the rest.
Undisputed, the Mexican Monster Pack out now.